And now, really, the key to the whole thing. If you stuck around to this point in the video, you're about to be rewarded. This is so critical. What if you could rack up tons of free, easy points in tennis without even having to hit the ball for a winner? Well, in this lesson, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, step by step, and we're going to begin by looking at some examples of Mike doing that to Will. Mike is the one wearing the hat. Check out these example points from a recent match on the Essential Tennis Court.
There's some patience from Will.
No.
Hey.
Cross.
Hey. Yeah, baby. Come on. Hey. Oh, it came through real quick.
So hopefully you're noticing the pattern here.
Look at that.
Got low.
Got low. And what's he going to do there?
Yeah, baby.
Watch how in each of these examples, Mike, the player in the hat, does not have to hit the last shot. Instead, he comes to the net and just wins the point automatically. Last example here.
Hey. No.
Frustrating for Will, and I know what you're probably saying to yourself, oh, sure, real smarty, and all I have to do is approach the net and hit like an incredible, hard, in the corner, like heavy topspin approach shot so that my opponent is in such a tough position that they make a mistake. Like, oh, that takes super high IQ, like I could have figured that out myself. Well, that's actually not true. I'm gonna address that specifically in just a moment. First, let's take a little tactical look at why coming to the net in general is such an effective play. And then we're going to dive deeper into answering that specific question. In tennis, you're always playing from one of three different phases of play: offense, neutral, or defense. Offense means that you're taking control of the point. Neutral means that neither player really has the advantage or the upper hand. And defense means you're in trouble and your opponent has the advantage. Coming to the net in tennis is the most offensive thing you can do. The reason why is it takes away time from both you and your opponent. Yes, coming to the net takes time away from them, but it also leaves you with less time to respond to their next shot. And it also advances your position on the court, and the closer you get to the net, the easier it is for you to put away the next shot. So it puts your opponent in a very precarious position. They have to make a decision. What am I going to do when my opponent comes into the net? Either I'm going to play it safe, that's a defensive shot, and just hit the ball in. But if my opponent coming into the net is really high quality and they know how to hit volleys and overheads, then I'm going to lose the point anyway most of the time. I could try to just be neutral and just hit an okay shot. Again, I'm left with that tough position where if my opponent has good volleys or overheads, then it might not be good enough and they might just hit winners. So it leaves me with the difficult choice of maybe just having to fight offense with offense. And that's the position you saw Will in a moment ago. Will knew his opponent was attacking and being very offensive, but he tried to hit a big winner anyway because of Mike's advancing into the court and getting closer and closer to the net. Mike came to the net a lot in that match, and Will tried to hit defensive and neutral shots too. And here's how some of those worked out.
Hey.
That's a defensive try, which Mike puts away with an overhead.
Sounded like it hit a dead spot or a line.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a neutral attempt. Will just kind of hits an okay shot.
That's nice.
Makes that play again.
That's another neutral shot.
Hey. Hey. Yeah.
And that was kind of neutral plus. Like it certainly was a solid ball. It's a ball that most of us would love to be able to hit, but it's nothing out of the ordinary for Mike. Like Mike's a good enough net player that he can handle those shots. If it's a little bit low, okay, that's kind of like neutral plus, right? That last one. It had good pace, and Will kept it low, but it wasn't offensive enough. And that's why Will is put in such a difficult position. When Mike comes forwards and he knows Mike has good volleys, and he knows Mike has good overheads, then it kind of takes defense and it takes neutral off the table. And Will all of a sudden feels this big squeeze, this pressure of, I have to fight fire with fire. I have to take Mike's offensive advance and I have to hit offense back. And doing that point after point after point successfully is extremely difficult to do. Look at those last 3 examples really quickly, and just keep in mind the principle here, like the kind of the key thing that you have to be able to do in Mike's position is back up your position with good shots. Just coming to the net in general isn't enough to get lots of free, easy points. You have to be able to show your opponent that you can handle a wide range of different okay shots or like average shots. And that's what Mike is doing here in these points, is he's showing Will, if you just hit me an okay shot or even like okay plus, like a kind of challenging shot, then that's not going to be good enough. You're going to have to do something really special in order to win these points when I come up to the net. So that squeeze leads to the free, easy points. A lot of people have already left this video, but those of you who are still watching are going to get rewarded now. The ones that I opened the video with, Mike actually hit a pretty darn good approach shot. Now watch these that Mike hits an okay approach shot and still just wins the point anyway.
Yep.
Super average shot for Will there.
Now, bit more spin.
Free point. Another average shot for Will.
Well, that's your first break, ladies and gents.
Hey, Dick. Yeah, baby.
But
Not gonna work, you cheeky devil.
So these are all shots that I promise you, and Will very likely will just show up in the comments down below. Will, if he was sitting right next to me right now, would say, those are all shots that I expect myself to make. Sure, Mike is pressuring Will from his position, but Mike didn't hit a good enough shot that Will should be just missing and just giving Mike free points. The reason why Will is missing anyway is because Mike has backed up enough of his talk by coming into the net by walking the walk and hitting good enough volleys and good enough overheads. And so now that's squeezed and pressured Will into trying all of these really difficult shots, and that's what's causing these errors. Just a couple more examples here.
Hey. Come on! Stop going so bloody big!
And so you hear Will, like that's him verbally acknowledging, I'm going bigger than I need to. I'm going bigger than I want to. That's why I'm hitting all these errors and Mike is getting all these free points, is because Mike's position and Mike's ability to back up his position with quality tennis shots, his volleys and his overheads, is really squeezing Will into the offense part of the 3 phases of play. Will would much rather hit neutral shots and win the points, or defensive shots and win the points. Those are safer, those are easier. Will's gonna make many more of those. But Mike is saying, no, 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 you're gonna have to hit offense, 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 offense. And if Will's not having a really excellent day in terms of timing and comfort, then he's just gonna make a lot of errors, just like you're seeing here. There's a flip side to this coin. If at any point Mike starts just kind of tanking easy volleys or tanking easy overheads, or if he doesn't position himself correctly and he gives Will lots of open space so that Will can hit an okay shot and still win the point, then the whole thing kind of falls apart. Let's look at a couple examples here of Will hitting passing shots without having to go for broke, but Mike is just kind of giving him just enough space. Watch these examples.
Hey! Good ball. Come on.
So Will here not having to hit the ball on the line. And Mike just not responding quite fast enough, not quite prepared, maybe not quite positioned exactly where he wants to be. And Will hits it's a good shot. It's a fantastic shot, but he doesn't have to make it perfect to win the point.
Good ball. Come on. Cross. Ali.
And same thing there. So Will there is calm, he's cool, he's collected, hits it's a neutral plus. Like he's not going for broke and he's not aiming for the line. For whatever reason, Mike maybe not reading the ball well, not being positioned exactly right, maybe not quite hitting the split step, just can't quite cover the shot, and Will is able to pass there cleanly. And here's the other thing that could happen that could totally blow this for Mike and not give him the easy points that he wants.
oh, I like. I'll take it out of the air.
Come on. Come on.
If at any point, I'm a net rusher, so I totally at some point, you're going to miss a shot like this. If you come to the net a lot, like Mike did in this match, eventually you're going to miss one of these kind of easy floating, routine type volleys. And this one, to be totally honest, I mean, he's still at the service line or behind the service line. So it's not the easiest shot ever. It's deceptively difficult, actually. But the point here, to be honest, it was hard to find examples of Mike missing volleys. But this is one where I think everybody, I mean, you heard what Scott's reaction was.
Come on! Come on!
Both the commentators like Mike, that's a very routine shot for Mike. If at any point as the approacher you start to show little signs of weakness and you start to show that you have breaks in the armor, then all of a sudden Will in the other position is going to be like, okay, I'm just going to hit the ball to you. And Will can go to neutral shots. Will can go to defensive shots and feel like I can still win this without trying to be perfect. The key for Mike is not to show too many of those signs of weakness so that Will feels the need to keep having to hit perfect shots. And now, really, the key to the whole thing. If you stuck around to this point in the video, you're about to be rewarded. This is so critical. You might think that I've just kind of cherry-picked some points to kind of make a point here, but if you know the stats from the match, then it actually becomes very obvious that what Mike was doing really was working, really was paying dividends. So as I went through and edited the video to grab those clips, I was keeping track of the number of times that Mike came to the net and the number of times that he won the point without he didn't have to hit an overhead, he didn't have to hit a volley. Will hit the shot, attempted to pass, and just missed in the net or wide or long. So in the first set, total approaches that Mike hit were 11, and 5, almost 50% of the times that he came to the net, he won the point without having to hit another shot. Now, sure, some of those were from Mike just hitting a baller approach shot, but as you saw just a minute or two ago, many of them were not. Many of them Will had a pretty routine shot and just missed because of the pressure that Mike was putting on him. Set number 2, 18 approaches. And I didn't tally this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 times Mike didn't even have to hit a ball. So the totals here, 29 total approaches, and 15 times Mike didn't have to hit a ball to win the point. He just won the point over half the time. So that means that even if he missed every volley and missed every overhead, Mike still would have been ahead. He still would have won more than 50% of his points by coming to the net. So hopefully you get the big picture here. I'm not trying to say that, just approach the net and you're just going to get tons of free, easy points. You have to be able to back it up like Mike did here. And once your opponent starts to feel the sense that, oh man, they really know what they're doing, they've got quality volleys, they've got quality overheads, and they see that the ratio of the number of times you're winning goes against them, then they have no choice but to turn up the dial up to offense, 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 and that's when you start to get the free, easy points. Follow this formula, follow these tactics, and I guarantee you'll see the same thing happen for you. If you'd like some guidance and help on how to develop those volleys, how to develop those overheads, then make sure to go to essentialtennisacademy.com and sign up for a free access to the whole members area, and I'll show you step by step how to develop quality volleys and quality overhead, know how to position yourself and be in the right spot so that you can provide that same kind of pressure and stress on your opponents. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and click the like button. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave any comments or questions you have down below, and I'll catch you in the next video.